All right. What's up, everybody? And welcome back to the Kindred Call podcast. It's me, your boy, Nate Sinni. So thankful that you're here today. So thankful that you're listening. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, man. This is great. Or woman, whoever's listening. I'm no respecter of persons. But I'm really thankful you're listening today, and I hope to encourage you. And one of the things, it's a quote I want to share with you today. It's by Mr. Booker T. Washington. Booyah. Listen up. It says, a lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become good just because it is accepted by the majority. Boom. Thanks for dropping some absolute truth bomb, Booker T. Washington. It's a great quote. And it's the gist of what I want to talk to you about today. It's just that, we've come to a point in this world where there's a lot of there's just a lot of lies that are being painted as truths. And I've just gotten to this point where I'm like, man, I'm done accepting anything that this book doesn't say. If this book right here, this is the Bible, by the way, if this book does not say it, it ain't for me. And y'all may be thinking like, whoa, that thing's like 2,000 years old. Let me tell you something. God knew when he wrote this, when he inspired this word, to be written in the hearts of his followers. He knew me. He knew me then. And he knew that I would read this word and that it would, amazingly, it would see into this new age and, all these new things that are happening. Because I can bet you $100 that Moses didn't have TikTok. But I'll tell you what Moses did have. He had a lot of people grabbing for his attention. And he had a lot of opportunity to not be led by the Spirit in his life in the same way that I do. And he chose to follow the Lord. And so, it's time we come to that spot where it's like, man, I'm done accepting these things. I'm done compromising myself. I'm done putting myself in the position where I'm just going to do this so I don't cause an uproar. I can remember back in high school, we'll be real. Just being in a situation where you're like, everything about this is not me. Everything about what's going on around me in this room, it ain't who I am. And I can remember sitting in silence and just thinking like, man, this ain't for me. But I didn't do anything about it. I didn't speak up. I didn't leave the room. I didn't want to be seen as an outsider. I didn't want to be seen as somebody who's a Bible thumper or, a hardcore Christian. And isn't that funny? When we decide to finally give Jesus our life and he changes us in an instant, boom, it happens, boom. And it's not a complete fullness of change. It's the start of a change. And isn't it funny how every time we decide to make a move to start walking this thing out, it seems like everybody and their mama comes against us, whether it be family, friends, or anything. So it's just like, oh, you changed? So this is just the new you? This is just the new you. Like yesterday don't matter no more? Yesterday when you were dropping all them curse words and, you were hitting that vape or whatever. Yesterday, that wasn't you. So you're a new guy today. It's like, yes, I am a new guy today. Because I ran into somebody. I met somebody. And he changed me. And, I just want to encourage you today that maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you're in this position where you feel compromised when you leave the church or when you leave, your home or, your little sanctuary, your safe place. You feel compromised. But that is where the Lord wants to work. Your faith is not just for you. Like, yes, you are saved. You're going to heaven. Awesome. You made it. But there's so much more that he wants for us here on this planet. And so he wants to work in our weaknesses here. And what happens when that high schooler or, maybe you ain't no high schooler, maybe what happens when anybody chooses the way, when anybody chooses Jesus, is that you've sown a seed in the people around you's lives. And a lot of times it's harder to do that around people you've known forever, Even Jesus, when he comes back home and they're like, he starts, preaching and talking, and they're like, isn't this the carpenter's son? Don't we know this guy? Where does his authority come from? It's just a normal guy. And even Jesus experienced those things, so you're going to experience them too. One of the things I pointed out in our service last Sunday is that persecution is a promise. Go read the Beatitudes. God tells us that there's going to be persecution, but he also tells us that he's going to be right there with us through it all, and that if we'll begin to if we'll begin to choose him in the midst of the trial, in the midst of the chaos, that we're going to be blessed for it. And I don't know about you, but I don't want no earthly blessing. Money's nice and all, but if being rich means that I don't get what God has for me, then I don't want to be rich. If being famous or whatnot means that I don't get what he has for me, I don't want it. I could gain this whole world, but it wouldn't be worth a dime, to the Lord. All this place has, this is all just, it's formulated. It is designed for distraction. It is designed to get me off path, to get me off base. And what the Lord's just calling me back to is just him, just me and you, Nate, focus on me and you. And what I've often found is when I get to that place of, man, it's just me and the Lord right now. It's just me and the Lord. I run into people, or I'm in the midst of people, and they begin to be like, oh, yes, that's what he's saying to me too. When I finally do open my trap and start talking about it and put that fear down, I run into people who want the same thing. But it's like, are we going to be the people that stand up and are calling out lies and are, realizing that everything around us in this world is designed for distraction? Are we going to be able to realize that? Because I don't want to partner with those things anymore. That's the old me. That guy's dead and gone. And, I'm not where I used to be. I'm not right off the heels of, making bad decisions every day. I feel like I'm doing pretty good as far as, trying my best to live by the Lord. But I still mess up. I still don't get it right. And that's just the beauty of Jesus. He's just calling me back to this. He's getting me refocused. He's changing me. He's making me a new creation every day. And so there's something I want to talk to you about today. It's in 2 Corinthians, and Paul talks to his people. Sorry if my chair's squeaky. Paul talks to these people in Corinth, and he's just saying, maybe you're like me and you don't feel like you're very qualified for what you do. Lord knows I don't feel qualified for what I do. I didn't go to college. I ain't got nothing. All I got is Jesus. But right here in 2 Corinthians 3, it says that's enough. Right here, let me see this. Let me get there for you. So it is not, okay, sorry. 2 Corinthians 3:5. It is not that we think that we are qualified to do anything on our own. Our qualification comes from God. He has enabled us to be ministers of his new covenant. This is a covenant not written of laws, but of the Spirit. Bang. And right above that, he said, this isn't something written in pen or in ink on paper. No, this is carved on our hearts. This is something that is evident in our lives. He calls our lives letters to the Lord. Like my life is a letter to the Lord. Everything that I do, I want it to be a sweet fragrance. I want my life to be worship to him. I want to just be somebody who is proud to present my life before him on that day that I get to stand before his throne and just be like, Lord, I knew you. I'm so thankful I get to see your face finally. I'm not seeing a stranger. I'm seeing somebody I know. I'm seeing the guy who I spent time with. It's a presence that's not unfamiliar to me. I knew you even here and now, because that's just who he is. He's faithful. And so when we begin to live our lives like that as letters to the Lord, if we, focus on those things, something comes into play, and that's the fruits of the Spirit. And if you don't know what those are, I'm going to tell you. It's Galatians 5. You can go to Galatians 5:22. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Yeah, I don't know about you, but that sounds like something I want in action in my life. I want those things to be evident in my life. I want to be the person that, my mama calls me sunshine. And she called me that just because I smile a lot. I was, I think I still make her happy. I just, the Lord's blessed me with this joy, and it's a joy that don't fade away. And it's something that I've leaned on my whole life. You know, joy is superpower. Joy ain't happy. Happiness is not joy. Those two things are different. But joy is something that stays with you. And the joy of the Lord is just, guys, it's the best. And it's a fruit of the Spirit, and it's available to you today. And so just choose Jesus. Just choose to be his and to pursue him, because he's going to start giving you things, and they're going to start popping up. And you can be like, whoa, what's that? Whoa, that feels weird. That's different. That's the fruit of the Spirit in action in your life, my dude or my dudette. He loves you. And living by that power, man, living by the Spirit's power, it transforms not only you, but the people around you. Your family starts to see it. Your loved ones and all, teachers, bosses, coworkers, everybody sees it. And they begin to gravitate towards those things. And what that does is it raises a curiosity in them. It's like, okay, how's he doing that? How's he doing that? And you get to say, it ain't by me. I don't have any qualifying factors for this joy. I didn't do anything to gain peace that passes understanding. I just gave my life to Jesus, and he handles the rest. So get to that point today. Get to that point where it's just you and him, and realize that you are tailor-made for ministry right where you're at. You don't have to be on a what's it called? In a pulpit. You ain't got to have a guitar in your hand or a mic in your hand. Your life is a letter to the Lord. Love on him today. And when you love on the Lord, you're loving on his people, because that's what the Lord cares about. He cares about people. That's why he came, so that he could have his people reconciled back to him, and not just the folks in Israel. It's for all of us. And it's an amazing opportunity. So today, I want you to focus on the Lord. Carve his word onto your heart, and just realize that he is for you. And if he is for you, who could be against you? All right? So listen, I love you. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.